Hello there. It's Friday, and that's good news. Hey, got some great college football coming up tomorrow, and then some NFL stuff. All good stuff. All good stuff. And we'll hope the Blues get back on track. That was kind of ugly, but calm down. One game, nothing's over except that game. I'm Bernie Miklasz, and you may have known about my life here in St. Louis, which I'm not going to tell you about. It's not a life story, but I've been covering St. Louis sports since 1985, and I like keeping busy. I like doing what I'm doing here at STL Sports Central. It's wonderful. So I write 5 columns and I do 5 videos each week here on STL Sports Central. I also join my longtime friend Randy Carricker for a weekly visit on his show. You can catch me on KMOX on multiple shows, and I appreciate KMOX, and I appreciate you for checking out our stuff that we do on sports on KMOX. And one other favor to ask, if you like what we're doing at STL Sports Central, and we keep pumping out more content all the time, more and more and more and more, a lot's coming. So if you like what we're doing, please subscribe to our YouTube channel and hit the button on the videos you watch. That would be the like button. All of that stuff helps us out, and we really appreciate you for helping us out. All right, today's topic, I'm going to offer you my early impressions of Cardinals president of baseball operations, Chaim Bloom. The answer, or my initial impressions, are positive. I'm going to try to pass along some of my observations and intel that form my initial read on Bloom as he officially gets started in his prominent new job here in St. Louis. And so here's the things that I've liked about Chaim Bloom so far, and it's based on studying his background, how his background informs what he's doing now, and looking into his startup plans for the Cardinals. All right, number one, let's get started. Number one, he's already improved the St. Louis player development system. By the end of the regular season, the Cardinals had moved all the way to 6th among 30 teams at Fangraphs and 9th among 30 teams at ESPN. The MLB pipeline at the end of the season ratings had 4 Cardinals prospects on their top 100 list. Bloom hired a lot of smart people to lead the project, including assistant GM Rob Cerfolio. He hired people himself, and the St. Louis prospects are getting the attention and the help that they need to make sure they are fully prepared for the big leagues. It's not all going to happen at one time, but they're off to a good start. Number two, I like the fact that Bloom's bringing his extensive history of knowledge and procedure and philosophy and all that stuff that he learned by that brilliant Tampa Bay Rays front office during his long stay there. That background makes Chaim Bloom really an ideal fit for what the Cardinals have to do, which is to rebuild and also to resurrect in a dramatic way their player development system. That's essential. These aren't optional things. They must do these things. And so the fact that he was part of a crew that did it extremely well in Tampa Bay makes him the kind of guy that can, I think, get the Cardinals up and running in every area, maybe sooner than expected, because he's already off to a head start, because this was the year set aside primarily for making dramatic changes in the whole farm system structure. Chaim Bloom, understand this too, and I know you might roll your eyes because it is kind of hokey. It was beaten to death in terms of the way the Cardinals themselves were using this type of phrase. But when the young Chaim Bloom was brought into the Tampa Bay front office back around the mid-aughts, 2005 or so, he was the guy who wrote the Rays Way manual that focused on player development. Here's how you teach the players. Here's what we want. Here's how we want them to be taught. This is how you'll do it. This is here are the tools that you can use to help you get there. And it drew a lot of praise within baseball circles because it was so thorough and it was so good. And it was also simply delivered. It didn't try to get too fancy, but he laid it all out, and everyone was coordinated. The players knew what was expected of them. They could count on they were going to be taught everything they needed to know. There was a certain way to do things, fundamental baseball plays, whatever it may be, philosophy on pitching, philosophy on that, philosophy on this. A lot of it was just teaching. Anyway, it's worked beautifully for the Rays. It really has. The Rays way has been pretty outstanding, all things considered, which means you have to use your brain a little bit and, can't compare the Rays record to, let's say, the Yankees record. Just a little bit difference in payroll. In fact, I'm going to offer you something a little later on here. So it's really amazing what the Tampa Bay's been able to do given the extremely limited resources. And a lot of it had to do with Chaim Bloom writing that manual and it becoming the template for how they're going to win, even with extremely limited revenue and ticket sales. From 2008 through 2023, the Rays had the third best regular season winning percentage in the majors. Third out of 30. The only two that were ahead of the Rays from 2008 through 2023 were the Dodgers and the Yankees. The Rays qualified for 9 postseasons over that time, a count that's topped only by the Dodgers and Cardinals. The Rays' 28 postseason wins ranked 9th in the majors from 2008 through 2023. And they got to 2 World Series between 2008 and 2020. And that's as many World Series as the Cardinals and the Yankees each played during that time period. Well, actually, the Yankees were, no, let me just rephrase that. Since the start of 2008, the Rays, the Yankees, and the Cardinals have all played in 2 World Series. As any person everybody should know by now, the Cardinals aren't going to be seated in the VIP room. So this is my third period. The VIP room, it's a mythical place, but it is, patterned after kind of, the big shooter rooms in Las Vegas where they sit at the most expensive table. So the Rays never are going to sit at that table. They never could sit at that table. And I don't think the Cardinals are going to be sitting at it either. They're going to spend money when they're ready to spend money. Makes sense to spend money. But the Cardinals are not going to be in there. So, we're going to outbid everyone for Juan Soto. That's just not going to happen. Okay. So enhanced payroll efficiency is vital. In their last 9 times of making the playoffs, the Rays ranked no higher than 22nd among the 30 teams. And they were anywhere from 26th to 30th in 6 of those 9 years of making the playoffs. To win so consistently and I think dramatically with such a limited treasury while competing in the rough and tumble American League East, to me, it's quite the accomplishment. And as I mentioned many times, since the start of the 2017 season, the Cardinals have outspent the Milwaukee Brewers by $362 million in payroll. They don't have a lot to show for it because the Brewers have taken control of the division. And it's way past time for St. Louis to stop squandering so much payroll capital on mediocre talent. The Bloom plan is also the DeWitt plan, and the DeWitt plan worked once before. Now he's going to go back to his roots for it to work again. And these guys are on the same page. Number 4, the Cardinals have an urgent need for young, effective, power pitching starters who get swings and misses and strikeouts, all that good stuff. And Bloom's record and reputation in this area is utterly fantastic. Bloom had a major role in Tampa Bay's player development system for a long time. And he kept moving up the ladder, and he was still maybe the major voice in terms of draft and development. Here, check this out. In a 15-year period that ended at the end of 2019, which is when Bloom went to Boston to take over their chief baseball officer job, and ended up working for a guy that was like probably Jekyll and Hyde. Every 10 minutes he was a different identity. So anyway, Bloom's in a much better place now. Anyway, in a 15-year period that ended at the end of the 19th season, the Rays ranked first in the majors for wins above replacement, otherwise known as WAR, first in WAR by starting pitchers aged 25 and younger. Over those 15 seasons, the Rays' young starting pitchers also ranked 3rd in starts, 3rd in innings, 4th in quality starts, 5th in ERA. That's an impressive track record. And we're talking about just the young dudes. And this is also why I loved one of the Cardinals' first hires during the Blue regime, which started last year on the player development side. They brought in Matt Pierpont, who coordinated the pitcher development program for quite a while for the Seattle Mariners. And as I'm sure most of you know, the Mariners have one of the most impressive group of starting pitchers in the majors, and it's been that way for a few years now. And they still have more on the way because they know what they're doing about developing starting pitchers. And Matt Pierpont, his knowledge used to benefit the Mariners. Now it's going to benefit the Cardinals because he's brought that knowledge to the Cardinals as the team's new director of pitching. And he's already helped some St. Louis prospects by adjusting their pitch arsenals. These folks are really, really, really astute at this job. And it's a great match for a Cardinals team that lost its way in terms of maintaining a strength, young starting pitching, developing it, improving it, so on and so forth. So when I return for my second segment of Friday's Bernie Show, I'm going to offer my next set of reasons why I like what I know and I see from Chaim Bloom. But first, I love the exciting news from DraftKings Sportsbook. Missouri, get ready because here they come. The wait is almost over. It's October the 10th as I record this, and on December the 1st, DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app, will go live in the Show Me State. And you can sign up today and get ready for December 1st when it all clicks in and you can play. Sign up today, get everything in order, learn how that app works. It's great. Learn how to do this, learn how to do that. See how the whole system works, what's available, all that stuff. And by signing up as soon as possible, you will be totally set to go when it's first pitch, so to speak, on December 1st in our state of Missouri. Of course, new Missouri customers can get $300 in bonus bets when we launch on December 1st. Download now and place a $5 bet when DraftKings Sportsbook goes live on that first day of December. DraftKings Sportsbook brings everything you need to elevate your game day, including live in-game betting, which is so much fun, lightning fast payouts, and endless ways to get in on all of the action, all right from your phone. That easy. Yes, it is. And when we officially go live in Missouri, you'll be betting with the Sportsbook app trusted by millions. It is safe. It is secure. It's got fast money withdrawals and a lot of other stuff you will come to appreciate. So download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use the code STL Sports to grab $300 in bonus bets with just a $5 bet when we go live on December the 1st. That's code STL Sports in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. You must be 21 years old or over, physically present in the state of Missouri. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 7 days after being issued. Excludes customers who are deemed pre-launch sign-up offer. You can find the terms at sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. Thank you, DraftKings. The crown is yours. December 1st. That's the day. Get ready. All right, welcome back to segment number 2 of The Bernie Show. And yes, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, which you can do with one click, and hit that like button too, and we love you for it. All right, I gave you my first 4 reasons why I'm impressed so far with Chaim Bloom. Let's get to the 5th reason. He has strengthened the Cardinals pro scouting department, which wasn't a mess. It was actually relative to most major league teams, it was actually pretty good. But Chaim Bloom comes from a background where he respects baseball scouts, old school baseball scouts. As soon as people in our town hear analytics or they hear, oh, he went to Yale, it's kind of like, oh, he's just one of these nerds and thinks he knows everything and he's never played the game and he'll never understand baseball. All that stupid stuff. Where actually Chaim Bloom is actually quite a brilliant man, but he has a great love of baseball from all angles, which includes, no, Mr. DeWitt, we need pro scouts out there bird dogging, picking up information, making notes, finding weaknesses, identifying ways to beat them, hitting in their vulnerabilities. We need trained eyes out there watching all of these teams that we need to monitor. That's old school baseball stuff. So for the faction that already has chosen to find all these negatives about Chaim Bloom, but that, when I'm on KMOX and people leaving comments, it's all the same malarkey. Well, this analytics stuff is ruining the game. Look what this analytics stuff did for the Cardinals. They can't even hit home runs anymore. Blah 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 blah. Analytics is the word for that is information. I don't know about you, but I prefer to have information. It's okay to use your brain, take advantage of the information is out there. It doesn't make you a nerd. Doesn't take you some you're not some pompous Ivy League school guy. You're just someone who understands the world changes. There's always different ways, better ways to get an edge at playing baseball games and competition. Might as well use it. The other teams are. So you want Chaim Bloom to just say, well, we're going to eliminate the analytics department. Yeah, we're just going to blow that thing up. We're going to approach this like it's 1956. Is that what you want? Okay. Okay. Anyway, Bloom has strengthened the Cardinals pro scouting department. It's a key move that will give the Cardinals a chance to scout opponents, as I said, with a trained eye, and they can go out there wherever they feel they need to go. It could be in advance of some trade discussions, things like that. So you go, you set up shop, you follow a team. You're hot on the trail of maybe a young pitcher you want. So you send your scout, maybe 2 scouts. You send them out to follow that team for 2 weeks. Keep an eye on things, bring back reports. So Bloom will have more scouts in the field than the Cardinals have had, and they'll all be studying what's going on with other teams, supplying scouting reports, identifying talent the Cardinals should pursue in a potential trade, or conversely, file a report that says, look, I'm concerned about this. I like some stuff, but I'm not quite sold. His throwing motion bothers me. It looks like a sign of trouble, like we're going to be talking about Tommy John surgery. That's the human touch of scouting, which I think is fantastic. And Chaim Bloom is all for it. Number 6, Chaim Bloom has re-energized Chairman Bill DeWitt Jr., and that's definitely a plus. DeWitt's keen on the Cardinals getting back to their draft and development identity and model that was so successful for a very long period of time. And Bill went to that when he hired Jeff Luhnow from outside baseball. He came from the corporate world. But Jeff Luhnow had a system of basically, determining value for the dollar and what makes a good investment, what doesn't. How do you identify traits in people you're scouting that other teams don't know about, or they don't have the wherewithal to try to figure this out. Gave the Cardinals a huge advantage. And by saving money with so many good draft picks that were cost controlled, they could go out and fill in roster pieces in a big way for stuff that they needed. So you get the best of both worlds that way. So I think Bill DeWitt got caught up in trying to squeeze just a little more out of limited veterans, just as the era was ending with that 2022 season. And this was especially true in the pitching area. Well, let's sign this guy. Let's try to squeeze. Maybe we can get 150 innings from him. No, that kind of thing. That's no way to live. And the Cardinals discovered soon enough that, we're in trouble here because we don't have young starting pitching. Not much of it. Some's starting to percolate, but not much of it. I'm just talking about the last 3 years, not just this year. When an expiration date hit the Cardinals, it hit the Cardinals hard in recent years, and DeWitt has gone back to his roots by hiring Bloom. And you just watch, with Bloom's knowledge of developing pitching, it's a proven track record. You watch that, and you watch the upgrades to a lot of things they're doing in the minors, including the teaching and instructing. The Cardinals are going to have a lot of good young starting pitching talent pretty soon. I mean, I've already made really good headway on that. All right. Number 7, Chaim Bloom has an endearing, genuine way of working with others and communicating with others. He's not power tripping. His ego is well under control. He's self-deprecating. He's got a sense of humor. He loves baseball. He loves talking baseball, right? He really does. He's a gentleman. He's a really courteous gentleman. He wants to hear everyone's ideas. He welcomes open and honest discussions. If you think something's wrong, You think the way he wants to go, and you're in a meeting down there at Busch Stadium and you disagree with him, he wants you to disagree with him. He doesn't view it as a threat to his ego or his job or anything else. It sounds hokey, and in the United States in the year 2025, almost 2026, well, we ain't supposed to say hokey things, right? No, we're supposed to be tough guys all the time. You don't need to show no damn compassion to your coworkers. Chaim Bloom, because he was raised right, he cares about his new coworkers as human beings. Now, if they do a lousy job, then they're going to not work for the Cardinals. But he cares about people, not just the way they do the job. It's capable to do both, But one thing I've heard from people down there, his warm personality and his genuine personality is the Cardinals need that, because that front office needed to be warmed up. It was kind of cold over the last few years. You could hear it when John Mozeliak would just go on KMOX every Sunday morning. And I don't want to keep kicking Mo around because his time's over and it's time to move on. But I'm just making the point. The Cardinals could use it's not just the intelligence of Chaim Bloom and his background that fits what their current mission is, the rebuild. But it's making your coworkers feel important and being there for them. I think that front office needed a morale boost, and I think Chaim Bloom is already doing that. All right, I've got one more set of initial Bloom observations to share, and I'll do it in my third and final segment of today's Bernie Show. But first up, I want to encourage you guys out there to power up by bringing in Blue Chew from the bullpen. Absolutely. Blue Chew is the original brand offering chewable tablets for enhanced performance so you can raise your game for those intimate, pleasurable times with your partner. Big Blue can help you get it done, and there is no reason to hesitate. You just chew it and do it. It really is that easy. I know what Blue Chew has done for me, and hell, I'm old enough to be on Medicare. And this is a big reason why I am proud to talk about how much Blue Chew has helped me, because I want Blue Chew to do the same for you. You need a stronger bat? Blue Chew is in the equipment room, or maybe because it's hockey season, I should say. If you need a bigger stick to boom those slap shots, well, go get it. And then go get it done in the bedroom. Here's an awesome bonus. You will get your first month of Blue Chew free. You're just a few clicks away. I will explain. Sign up at bluechew.com, consult with one of the licensed medical providers, and once you're approved, you'll receive your prescription at your doorstep in a few days. It's all done online, simple and private. So try your first month of Blue Chew free when you use the promo code Bernie. All you got to do is pay $5 shipping. That's promo code Bernie to get your first month free, and the only cost to you is the $5 shipping fee. Visit bluechew.com and for more details, and bluechew.com for more important safety information. And we thank Blue Chew for sponsoring the Bernie Show here on STL Sports Central. All right, welcome back to the third and final segment of today's Bernie Show. And I hope you've enjoyed just my initial observations of Chaim Bloom, and they're all positive because this is a positive time. He's just starting a job. If I think he's going to just swerved into something that doesn't make sense to me, I'll be happy to do a video on that when it happens. But look, for now, let's finish up my list of reasons why I like the Chaim Bloom hiring even more now than I did when we all knew that it was going to be official. So I've got 3 more reasons. So let's go with number 8. And I bet you never thought about this, or at least not much. Number 8, Chaim Bloom's going to be entertaining. He will be entertaining, and the Cardinals need some entertainment for their fans. And frankly, they need to keep the media entertained too, or something like that. And I'm not talking about life of the party, dancing on the ceiling type of entertainment. I'm talking about action. Let's go scout some players. Let's go look at this. Let's go look at that. Let me go to your file. Yeah, I got about 20 people I can call or send emails to and get more information on this guy we're looking at. Action, searching, going on a hunting expedition, learning everything that you can, information. Let's go. Let's find out more. Let's find out more. Let's find out more. Trade discussions, active trade discussions, always, instead of being aloof and kind of disconnected within the industry, which was one of the problems in recent years here. Chaim Bloom's going to be one of these guys that he will never hesitate a chance to just have a conversation with any other guy that has the same job he does, so they can compare notes, talk about philosophies, keep talking, and then the next thing you know, you're starting to realize, hey, we could make a deal to help each other. It's kind of hard to do when you're kind of aloof, but he's a really direct on guy as far as engaging others, and everybody likes, from whatever I've heard, all these other baseball people love dealing with him because he's honest and he's also fun and he's open-minded. Like, in other words, he's not trying to destroy your team in this trade. He wants what you want. He wants to make a really good baseball trade that's going to help each team. So what's the point of killing a trade that could help you just because you insist on destroying the other side rather than just making a trade that's good for the St. Louis Cardinals? Trades will come easier with him compared to the way it was. He'll be making actual trades. There's going to be a lot of trade discussions. There's going to be his pursuit, another one of his specialties from the Tampa Bay days, pursuing hidden gem talents, making stealth moves that confuse other front offices. What does he see in him? We don't have anything good on that guy. I wonder what Bloom's up to here, that kind of thing. Chaim Bloom likes making moves. And it's also part of his Tampa Bay heritage in this. He isn't predictable. He may go a different way than you anticipate. At Tampa Bay, the front office traded prospects for established and pricier veterans, even though their rep was that, they will just continue to collect prospects and hold on to them. And, maybe eventually make some trades, things like that. But they never box themselves in. Let me repeat what I said, right? At Tampa Bay, that front office, regularly traded prospects when they needed an established veteran, even if the veteran was, somewhat expensive, but they wanted him. So they would go into their prospect capital and go get them. And of course, they traded established veterans for prospects when other teams wanted someone they could plug in. So Tampa Bay found a way to fit into any kind of trade formula recipe. And you couldn't box them in that, they always do this, or, this is how they do that. No, a lot of surprises, a lot of action. Fans and media down there never knew what that front office was up to or what they would do. But as I mentioned earlier, that front office was always on safari. And that Tampa Bay front office was fearless, unable to lazily throw money around, which is the easiest thing any executive can do. But they knew they had to solve their problems in other ways, and they had to think differently, and they had to think outside the box. They had to come up with creative ways to increase their talent level. In short, they pulled it off because they're just really, 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 really smart, and they don't rule out anything, and they're not afraid of going against their preferred method of operation to pull something off. They're mavericks. They're like the smartest guys in the room, who really are the smartest guys in the room. And they've got a maverick streak in them down there. And Bloom, that's in his DNA as well. And that maverick trait that they have is pretty damn entertaining. Number 9, Bloom has integrity. You ain't going to like this one, but it's one of my observations. I was told by other people, he's a man of integrity. He really is. He's a man of honor. Okay. And that really sounds great. I'm not sure how to quantify that though, but now I know. It would have been really, really easy for some hustler coming in here who's a president of baseball operations. It's like, well, first thing I got to do is get everybody to like me, putting your own popularity ahead of what's right. So it would have been easy for him to come in, score cheap points with Cardinals fans who desperately want Oliver Marmol out of here. Instead, Bloom blocked all that out. He spent a lot of time getting to know Marmol rather than, monitoring talk show calls or whatever, or reading online forums. He's like, well, why don't I, actually get to know the guy and actually really study him closely and exchange ideas? Does he believe in what we're about to do? Does he believe in the way I'm going to do it? Can we be compatible, or can we be aligned? Can we be on the same page? Or is he going to be one of the managers who says he's going to go along with it, but then he fights you, every step of the way? Alignment is an overused buzzword now, but it is absolutely essential in sports. You can't have the front office people, the owner, the coach, the manager. You can't have them all believing in one thing that is unrelated to what your colleagues, what they believe in. And then you're all trying to say, no, it's my way is the best way. No, it isn't. My way is the best way. You got to be aligned. Now, in this era of that we live in, that stuff's kind of old fashioned. Everybody's supposed to get their way. To hell with what he wants. It's going to be my way. It's just Marmol and Bloom have like completely taken the ego out of their working partnership. There's so many discussions where it's all about, okay, how can we get better? And they'd sit there, make notes. How can we get better? Let's brainstorm. I mean, that's what you want. That's what you want. And for these people that are just like completely lost in history and just think that, if a manager disagrees with the front office about who should be playing, say, second base, that makes him a puppet. That's become the stupidest, laziest narrative during my time in St. Louis. Like, the manager, what a manager, if he disagrees, if Oli Marmol disagreed with John Mozeliak about bringing up Michael McGreevy, which Oli wanted to have from spring training. So what's he going to do? Is it supposed to, you want the manager to pull a scene out of some old Wild Wild West movie? So what he's going to walk in the office and challenge John Mozeliak to a duel out on Market Street? He going to go in there and start throwing punches? My friends, some of you just need to get out of fantasy world. That's not how it works anymore, okay? I mean, the guy that runs the baseball department and the guy who manages the team on the field, they've got to be simpatico. They got to be in this basically the same wavelength. That's how it works. I've explained this a million times. People still want Oli Marmol to go into his boss's office because they disagree on a lineup or something. He should go. Well, Bernie, you should go in there throwing chairs. That's what I would do. Well, first of all, you never get a manager's job, right? No offense. Neither would I. Anyway, you don't fire people just because you want fans to like you and it's an easy, cheap way to score points. No, you don't throw a manager out on the street because, well, if I fire him, we'll probably sell more tickets in. Bill DeWitt will really like me. You don't be a weasel, okay? You be fair to people you work with, right? You don't come into a job being a damn weasel, all right? And that ain't Chaim Bloom. Marmol was put in a brutal position last season, and Bloom was impressed by the way Marmol handled it. He was impressed by their conversations. Bloom didn't give into the tantrums of the people that want to see the manager challenge the front office by, through violence or something. I don't know. It's just crazy. Probably not, but you get my point. So, but Bloom didn't give into the tantrums. He was brought in to do what he thought was best to do. And that's why he's considered an honorable man in the industry. Not that Marmol has this job for life, but he's the right fit for a rebuild at this time. And this is the part where you hate me, because I'm going to remind you that first 4 years as Cardinals manager, Tony La Russa, who had much more talent, had a 493 winning percentage first 4 years. Got to the playoffs one time, 2 losing seasons. Tony La Russa got manager of the year votes one time in his first 4. Oli Marmol, first 4 seasons as the Cardinals manager, 502 winning percentage, which is 9 points higher than TLR's first 4 years. They both made the playoffs one time. They both missed the playoffs the other 3 times. They both had 2 losing records. This one's interesting. In his first 4 seasons as the Cardinals manager, Oli Marmol received manager of the year votes 2 times. In his first 4 seasons as a Cardinals manager, TLR got manager of the year votes 1 time. What I'm trying to say is, it's just that guy was put in such a brutal position last year. I think really the last couple, 3 years, but he handled it as well as he could have. I don't know how people can look at that lineup and look at that rotation and look at the island of misfit toys with all these, these jams and positional jams and, too many left-handed hitters, too many infielders, not enough of that. Cutting the payroll, $40 million. And yet I've always asked, no one's ever, and I read all the comments, no one to this moment has given me a credible answer. Like why this is Marmol's fault. We all bitch and moan and scream about how bad of a roster it is, how they don't have a power hitter, how they don't, what did he go into the last season with, like two starting pitchers, maybe 2.5? I don't know. No one has yet to convince me that firing Marmol would be nothing. It'd be the equivalent of nothing. You got nothing except you want to throw a tantrum. You just don't like him personally and you want him gone. It has nothing to do with baseball. So Bloom didn't give in to that. He did what he thought was best, and that's what an honorable man does, and that's why he's considered to be an honorable man. And not that Marmol has this job for life, but he's the right fit for a rebuild at this time. If Chaim Bloom doesn't like the way it's gone and he thinks he can do better, he'll do better. But there's simply no reason to fire him now. Finally, number 10, along the same lines, Bloom didn't sit at his desk on his first official day and start the process of cleaning out the front office one by one by one by one. The front office is mostly intact. It surprised me a little bit. I thought there'd be some changes right away, but I've talked to some people who know about this, and they told me there's just no reason for him to rush in and start sacking people, because he's gotten to know some of the people in that front office operation pretty well. He likes them. But now he wants to work directly with them as the head of the baseball department. So he can find out everything there is about whether this person in the front office has got the right stuff, whether this person, I like him, but I don't think so. The Cardinals aren't going to the World Series in 2026. They're not even going to go to the playoffs. So this is the perfect year to be on the ground every day at Busch Stadium, watching how the people that are remaining from the front office work with the people that Bloom's coming in or he has brought in already, mostly on the minor league side. And so he can find out, well, who can help me going forward? I like these people personally, but we got to find out who can really help us going forward. But there's no reason to dismiss people outright before you learn about them. They deserve a chance to prove they belong by working with Bloom in the front office in 2026. And for his part, Bloom can have next season to scout every individual to determine if they're exactly the piece or pieces that he's looking for this rebuild. Chaim Bloom didn't want to start firing people just to, be the fake tough guy flexing muscle. He wanted to find out exactly what the Cardinals have in each individual. And if he's got to make tough decisions on these individuals, then he'll make the tough decisions. But there's no point in doing it now. Get to know what you have. Pretty simple concept. Those are my thoughts. And thanks for listening. Please comment so I can read your thoughts as well. And I want you to have a great weekend. Thank you all for watching. Please subscribe. Hit that like button. Leave your comments. Support our sponsors. All that good stuff. Special thanks to DraftKings and Blue Chew for supporting the Bernie Show here on STL Sports Central. Thank you very much.